Hello friends, welcome you in this video tutorial, and you are watching KK Java tutorials. In this video tutorial we are going to discuss about the interface static methods in Java 8. So Java 8 has added support for interface default methods as well as interface static method, which is one of the important changes in Java 8, along with the addition of many more features like lambda expression, stream API, datetime API enhancement and all. This post basically talks about the interface static methods in Java. So like static methods in class, now we can write static methods in interfaces too. Static methods in an interface can be called independently of any object, just like how static methods are called in a class, right? So if you have a static method in a class, directly you can call by the class name itself. Similarly, if you have a static method in interface, you don't require any instance or any reference, directly you can call by the interface name itself. So general form of calling the interface static method, interface name dot static methods. Let's try to understand the first point through an example. So here I have already created a project, and let's say here I have an interface is called my interface, and this interface is having one abstract method, one default method, right? And there is one static method is called get default amount, and that returns the amount as 0 as a default value. Now any class wants to access this static method, then that class has to not implement this interface, and that's what we have a client one package. So here if you go, I have a my class, and my class is having a main method, and there directly I can call get default amount method, a static method of this interface, by interface name itself, right? And this amount easily you can print, right, using SOPCC amount we are able to access from the by calling this utility method from the interface, right? And we are able to access, even though your class does not implement my interface, still we are able to access this utility method by interface name itself. Now let's try to understand second point. Second point says interface static methods are not inherited. So static interface methods are not inherited by implementing classes or extending interfaces. So let's try to understand these things through an example, and that's what you have a client 2 package. So here in my interfaces package, I have a interface is called B, and that extends my interface, and this interface basically has one default method. If you try to call this get default amount method of my interface using inheritance, that will not allow you to access. So this will immediately throw you an exception, and that's what you can see over here, and that's the point here, saying that extending interfaces cannot inherit, and that's the point. Now let's say we have a one class, my class, that implements my interface, right? Now this class basically overrides it's a static method, and now this class also can override the default method in this interface. So in this method we have a default method, so this class has also right to override this method, and that's what that is overridden, right? Overriding the default method of my interface. Now in main method I have I am trying to access get default amount directly by interface, right? And that we can do, already we have seen in the previous example. Now I have created an object of this implementing class, and that I have assigned to the reference of my interface, and I can call display greeting method, right? And overridden method will be called, and from overridden method I am making call to the display greeting method of my interface method. So this method will be called, right? And that's the thing we have learned, that's the make use of the super keyword. If you don't want interface display greeting method to be called, then you can have one own implementation within this display greeting method, and you can return your value here itself. You don't call interface method, right? So if you try to call display greeting method, then this overridden method will be called, and from overridden method we are making call to the default method of my interfaces, and same we are return value we are printing over here. But even though this class implements basically this interface, but if you try to call this interface static method by this class, right, this class or reference of this class, this will not be allowed. So see, my class, when my class try to call get default method, this is showing compilation error. Even though you cannot use reference of this class, reference of this interface, right, to call this static method, this is showing compilation error. And that's the basically point number 2 says that implementing, so static interface methods are not inherited by the implementing classes, right? So I hope you are clear with this concept as well. Now next concept is saying hiding interface static methods, but the implementing class can hide the interface static method in a Java by providing method with the same signature in the implementing class. Let's try to understand this point as well. So I have a .client3 package. I have a class is called my class again, and this class implements my interface, and that overrides the basically abstract method, and that also overrides the default method. And here you can see I have a method with the same signature which is in the this interface, right? In this interface we have a method, and with the same signature I have a method in the my class. So do you think this is overriding? This is not overriding, because a static method cannot be overridden, right, in Java. So this is kind of method hiding, right? So now if I come to the main method, and here I have created an object of my class which basically implements my interface, and I have assigned this object to the reference of my interface. Now I'm calling the my display greeting method using this reference. The overridden method will be called, and within the overridden I am making call to the my interface display greeting method. So that method will be called and return value will be stored, and same I am printing over here. Now of course I can call get default amount method by interface name, that already we have seen. So this default value will be returned. Now same we are printing over here by amount from the interface, and that will be printed as 0. Now here you can say my now I'm doing my class dot get default amount. So earlier example this was throwing an error, but now get default amount method is also available in this class. So that's what you are not getting error at this time, and this method will be called. So this basically hides the method which is available in the basically my interface, and that is called kind of method hiding. It's not a method overriding. So if you try to write at override before this method, this will show you the compilation error. So here you can see this is throwing a compilation error, because saying that a static method cannot be overridden, right? Now if I run this application, then here you can see hello from the my interface, and because of that this is we are getting call. So we are making call to the display greeting, and display greeting makes call to the default method of my interface, and we are getting output from here. Now we are calling the interface or basically a static method, so that's what we are getting this value. And finally my class is also having a get default method which is returning the value as 5, and that's getting printed. So now there are some important point I have listed over here, advantages of interface static methods. When we talk about the advantages of interface static methods, then there are 2 points you will have to keep in mind. Interface static methods can be used for the providing utility methods, right? So now second point that's very important, you should understand as well. With interface static method we can secure an implementation by having it in static methods, as implementing classes can't override them. Though we can have a we can have a method with the same signature in implementing class, but that will hide the method won't override, right? Because we know that a static method cannot be override, but implementing class can write the method with the same signature, and that is called a method hiding, not method overriding. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video tutorial. If you look into the JDK itself, so one of the interface that is a very well known interface is called comparator. So if you press Ctrl+Shift+T and try to search for the comparator, right, then you'll see there is a handful of method has been added in the Java 8 as a static method in this interface. So wherever you see the symbol as S over here, all are static method, right? So if you click over here, like, so this is a static methods, all are a static methods. So there are a handful of method, a static method, and this basically works as a utility methods in Java. So if you want to know how this utility method basically works, then I have basically covered these methods in the Java 8 features. So that is already I have uploaded on the KK Java Tutorials YouTube channel. You can go and search. So almost all the static method I have covered through a practical example, practical live example. So you can follow those tutorials and you can understand how basically we can work with these utility methods. So that's all I have in this video tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoy learning this video. If you really like this video, then hit on the like button. Don't forget to share and subscribe my YouTube channel. And this code I am going to check in on the GitHub, and GitHub location you may get from the video description part itself. So guys, that's all, and see you there in the next video tutorial.